I'm gonna show you the best back to work makeup look, because you're gonna look fresh, you're gonna look alive, your skin is gonna look good, and you're gonna be ready to take things head on. So let's get into it. Let's get straight into it. I'm gonna put my primer on. I've already got my skincare on. So I'm using my Beauty Blender Boost Firming and Smoothing Peptide Primer. And I just wanna get like a nice even layer of this all over. I feel like whenever it comes to like going back to work or just like work makeup, when you have been off for a little while, it's always kind of like, oh my God, like you forget. It's like, how did I used to do my makeup? Or is it becoming boring? Do I need to do something different? So I'm trying to like show you something which I think is a really pretty look, but not pretty where you're like, you know, pink, so much pink going on. But I really want to focus on kind of like the skin and making it look the best we possibly can. And I've got some special blushes that I'm going to be using today because I'm so excited about these brand new blushes from Nars. I've got all of them and I'm really excited because I'm excited to see how this looks on the skin. I've already used Nars before, but I want to try a different kind of color today. So I really want to show you how you can kind of focus on blush for your look as opposed to like having to contour and bronze all the time. So I'm going to be using my Huda Beauty Easy Blur Natural Foundation in Toffee 420G, and I'm really loving this at the moment. I'm going to use my Nikki La Rose and BK Beauty N17 brush, and all I'm doing is just getting some of this on the back of my hand. So I've got some here, just going to pat into this and then start applying this. So I'm just patting this into the skin. I am focusing on like kind of my application because I really want to get that nice skin finish, like I said. So I'm just literally just patting and flicking. We're going to do one side first because I have already done a video showing you how good this foundation is, but I just want to do it on one side again, just in case you haven't seen that video. So just kind of get a nice even layer all over. Look at that. I mean, obviously, you know, I feel like it's giving you a natural finish. It is a little bit warm for me, but I feel like over time my tan is going to reduce and then I'll probably head to the one shade lighter. But currently I feel like once I put my concealer on, then it kind of like gives me the brightness where I need it. But I really am impressed with this foundation. And I did a wear test with this, by the way, which is another video. It worked really well throughout the day. Like I was actually so surprised at how this foundation looked at the end of the day. I didn't think it was gonna actually stay looking so good on my skin, because I actually thought, just because it was like, oh, natural finish foundation, I just kind of like thought, okay, it's going to end up looking greasy or shiny through the day. And I don't know if that had more to do with her primer. I should have actually tried her primer today again, but actually it'll be interesting to see like using a different primer today, like how it sits. But it just lasted so well on the skin and it just looked so natural. It just didn't look heavy at all. I actually want to use my BK Beauty and Nikki La Rose N16 brush, and I'm just getting whatever's left of that foundation and actually applying it around the eyes, because I just want to see how this kind of like looks, and also I just want to wear a minimal amount of concealer. I don't think this is going to be enough to kind of obviously cover up dark circles, but I just feel like by applying the foundation kind of like closer to the eye area, it actually means you end up using a little bit less concealer. Like already that looks so much better, right? Because sometimes what we do is we end up leaving that eye area completely because we know we rely on our concealer, and then what happens, you just go all in with the concealer. Whereas if you just go in with a little bit of foundation around that area, just enough that it won't even crease, like it's such a thin veil of color that you end up using a little bit less concealer and it just looks more natural. So now I'm going to go to my concealer. I'm going to use my NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer in Ginger and just going to get a couple of dots. And I'm actually going for a little bit of a lighter coverage concealer because usually I would go for my like Guerlain, which I feel like gives me like quite good good coverage, and also my Tarte is really good, but I'm going for something a little bit more natural today. And make sure your beauty blender is damp, by the way. Okay, so now I am gonna just set that because I just wanna get the like kind of eyelids out of the way. Using my Makeup Forever Ultra HD powder, and just gonna get my Laura Mercier powder puff and just press here. I just feel like when I do it this way, it just doesn't go anywhere. I never have to worry about creases. Got my Real Techniques brush, and there's nothing on the brush, and I'm just dusting this off. I just feel like when it comes to doing back to work makeup, you want to kind of make sure that you're doing certain things that are really going to ensure that your makeup doesn't go anywhere. Like, you don't have to worry about creases and stuff like that. You just don't need that extra worry when you're at work, especially when you're getting back to work. So doing little things like this are really going to help you. Now I want to really brighten up my face, so I want to go ahead and apply my concealer. I just want to brighten it up along this kind of like center area, and I'm quite happy with like kind of going a bit heavy-handed with my concealer because I'm using a concealer which I know is really easy to move around, and it doesn't leave a cakey finish. So I just want to brighten up some areas. Like if I was doing this with the Tarte Shape Tape, this would just look so cakey and way too like evening glam. But I feel like I can get away with doing it with this. Plus I just know that throughout the day, like especially when you're working, you just don't have to worry about this. So I've got my sponge, and I'm literally just gonna pat this in. Like kind of keep it where it is, but just kind of buffing the edges, and you'll see how quickly this all blends in. Every time I use this concealer, I'm like, why do I not use this more often? It's actually such a good concealer for like day to day, especially work. I mean, now look, it has immediately brightened up certain areas of my face. Without it looking super cakey. Now, because I don't want to rely so much on like too much powder, I think the only kind of like powder product I want to use is one, my kind of setting powder, which I'm going to use something different to show you, not what I used on my eyes. And then the other is my blush. So I don't want to be adding kind of like powder bronzer and powder contour and anything like that. I just want to stick to like liquid form, like formats, liquid textures, so that it can really kind of like look a lot more natural throughout the day. So I'm going to use my Makeup by Mario SoftSculpt Bronzing and Shaping Serum in medium dark, and I'm just going to get that on the back of my hand with the Makeup by Mario F4 brush. And I'm just going to take some on the small side of the brush, and not too much because it can be a bit much otherwise. So you want to go quite light-handed with this, but you want to just apply it where you want that slight kind of bronze or like kind of sculpted look. I like to just go there just to lift that area. And I do have a few shades of this. Like I like using light, medium, medium, and medium dark. And it really depends on the kind of look I'm going for. Like for this, I know that I don't want to rely on powder bronzer after, so I'm going for a kind of darker color, which means I also know that I don't need to apply too much of this. Like it is quite effective. and just go under the jawline. This is a great product Prodle. Wow, this is just like seriously getting worse and worse. This is a great Prodle. Is that even a word? Does that even mean anything? Prodle? This is a great product for sculpting your jawline because it just looks so natural after you've done it. I am just going to do the sides of my nose. So some of you find that loose powder is a little bit much for you and you feel like you get that cakey finish. So I do want to use a different powder for the rest of my face. Now I did use my loose powder for my eyelids because honestly I just feel like that is really going to stay put. You can still use the powder I'm about to if you want. It was just personal preference for me. But I'm going to use the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finish powder in medium. And I'm going to get my BK Beauty Nikki La Rose N14 brush. And this is where I'm going to pat this into the under eye and really get onto the areas that crease so that we can ensure that that doesn't kind of like crease up later in the day. But first you want to get your sponge. Just make sure that there are no creases on the under eye at all before you go in. Then we're going to get the powder and we're going to press. Just look up and you're kind of going over the area kind of upwards, like you're covering this whole area here. And you're going to see it mattifies, but it does also set it really nicely. I like to go a little bit on the cheek here because I feel like I have a bit of texture there, so this really helps to kind of mattify it. But obviously this is based on you wanting to only apply this powder in the areas that you want it. Like maybe you want to keep the cheeks kind of like not powdered because you're okay with that. You want that natural kind of like glistening look to come through. I personally like to apply it everywhere if I don't want to have to worry about it for the rest of the day. But I'm just applying it to the areas that you may want to apply it if you still want that glistening effect to come through, and then I'll apply it everywhere. So see, we've gone over the smile lines here. They don't generally kind of like crease up for me. If you feel that that does crease up during the day, before you go in with the powder, just take out the creases with the sponge again, like you did with the under eyes. So see how I've gone over the nose, down the T-zone basically, under the eyes, around the chin, around the mouth, and just over the brows here. That is where you want to apply this if you want to keep that nice kind of glow coming through, that natural glow coming through the day. So you're kind of like maybe using a liquid blush and you've done all of that stuff on top of your foundation, and then you powder the way that I have. Now if you want it to be matte all over and you want to be like you want to apply a powder product like in terms of a blush as well, then you want to apply this everywhere. So I'm going to get my BK Beauty 106 brush, pat it in here, and I'm just going to go over my cheeks as well because I want this whole face to be nice and matte. You can't use a powder blush on top of foundation without setting. It's just gonna look horrendous. It's gonna look really patchy. So I have my Lime Crime Bushy Brow pen. I am just gonna kind of like put in some hairs on my brows just to make them look a bit kind of nice and full. I feel like this is the best kind of product to use when you want that really nice natural look. I just lightly go over so that I can then go over with a pencil. Now I'm going to take my Benefit Precisely my brow pencil and I'm just going to shape them. I feel like with the pencil I usually just kind of like fill in wherever I can see that I have some areas where there's maybe not really any hair, rather than kind of like draw the whole brow, otherwise it's going to look a bit much. And I also just do very light feather strokes. I'm not kind of like drawing, you know. Okay, so now we're going to go in with our blush, but I am going to be using this on my eyes as well, but maybe a different color to what I'm wearing on my cheeks. So I have a whole load of blushes here from Nars, and I want my skin to look healthy because I want to go I want you guys to go back to work with people saying, you look good, like what's different, but they can't put their finger on it and it's your makeup, but they don't know. They just think you naturally look good, which you probably do. But we're just trying to bring out that natural beauty even more. So the color I want to use on my eyes is Behave. And I'm using the BK Beauty Nikki La Rose N13 brush. And I'm just going to like dip into this and just do like a wash of color. And it's going to be really easy. Like, I don't want you focusing on anything like trying to create a specific look. We're just going to give the eyelid, just go with me at this point, the eyelid a nice wash of color. And it doesn't look like it's overly kind of like, oh my god, she's wearing eyeshadow, but at the same time your skin just, it's like a pick-me-up. So this color is beautiful for tanned skin, and if you have slightly paler skin, this still looks good. I just kind of like maybe dab off the brush a little bit, because I feel like when you're working on tanned skin in this color, you don't need to kind of like take the excess off, because it's such a kind of light color in comparison to the skin. But if you are paler, then just kind of like take a bit off on a tissue. But this really does kind of give you that, like I said, a really nice pick me up to the skin, to the eye area, without it looking like you're wearing eyeshadow. And I'm gonna just sweep under the eyes just a little bit, not a lot, just so that it doesn't look so disconnected. You wouldn't be able to tell that I'm wearing eyeshadow. It's that kind of look. I'm gonna use my Pat McGrath brush. I don't know what brush this is, but it's just a good shaped brush. And I'm going into the shade Deep Throat. And this is a super light color, so you really wanna kind of make sure that you pack it on, but at the same time, you can go in with a deeper shade, which is what I'm gonna show you. So don't be afraid of kind of like layering your blushes to get the right shade. It's like creating a gradient effect. So this is super, super light. So I know that it's not gonna be so visible to you guys. It'll probably be more visible like face to face, but I am gonna kind of deepen it a little bit. But this is a really stunning kind of very light pinkish shade, which kind of gives you that slight flushed look, but it complements this color that I've used on my cheeks a lot. I'm gonna go in with the shade Thrill. This is like literally a hot pink, like a Barbie pink. And I just want to kind of like add a tiny bit to the bottom part of where I've applied that blush. I love this color. It almost like just wakes up your skin. So now I want to do my mascara, because I want to finish this all off so you can really see how you can get that super natural kind of like healthy makeup look for work, which will honestly keep looking fresh throughout the entire day. I'm gonna use my Hourglass mascara. It's the Caution Extreme Lash Mascara. This is a really good mascara for work because it looks so, it's just basically enhancing your lashes. It doesn't look clumpy, it doesn't look too heavy, yet you can actually layer it up so that you do get that really nice voluminous look. Once you see the mascara on and you see everything coming together, honestly, you'll just be like, this is such a good look for work. Because when you actually see your face with your base done, your brows done, and then you've put your kind of blush and your, you know, the color on your eyes as well, it can look a bit kind of like almost a little bit clowny to you, because it's kind of like, okay, all I can see are these colors everywhere. You've got no depth anywhere because you've not got the black lashes. You know, your lips aren't lined, and it can look a little bit too much, but you've got to trust the process. And then what I do is just take it through the lower lashes. See, as soon as we have the mascara on, it just looks a little bit more kind of like just lived in. Now I want to get my Charlotte Tilbury Lip Cheat. just line your lips lightly with a nude lip liner. I want to use the Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk Big Lip Plump Gasm. This is actually in Pillow Talk, so I like to kind of like blot it after as well. So I'm just gonna blot. I like the look it gives once you've blotted it because it isn't like overly shiny in your face. I feel like they just look like really plump, juicy lips. That is basically your look, guys. Honestly, it's such an easy look. I feel like I wanted to kind of like slow it down a bit while I was talking, just doing it so that you can really kind of, you know, appreciate the technique and the process and really pay attention to it. But honestly, once you get the hang of it, it's not going to take you long at all to do this look. And I do feel like it's something that is wearable, looks fresh, looks pretty, but not too pretty. But it also does make you look like, you know, like you've got some life in you. It's not like you're tired coming back to work. You want to look like you are ready to go and you want to take things head on. And I feel like this look does without kind of looking overly dramatic and in your face. You know, that's where I feel like with work, it's hard to get that, you know, find that happy kind of balance of feeling like you're tackling, you want to tackle things head on and like, as in you're looking like that, but also not looking like you know, need to go in with a red lip and bold liner for you to do that. Like you still want to look kind of like pretty, but you want people to take you seriously too. And I feel like this look kind of does it. You know, you don't always have to wear eyeliner. You don't always have to wear a smoky lash line. You don't need those things. So I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope you do head out and get these products. The links are in the description. Don't forget there's some discount codes, which will be in my description too for you. And I have an online publication called the Beauty Breakfast Club, which is basically an online publication mainly covering beauty with a bit of health, culture, self, some opinions and hot topics thrown in too. I write all of the articles myself. There's about 3 articles that go live every week as a minimum. And you have 2 subscription offers. One is free, which gives you access to most of the site. And the other is paid, which actually is equivalent to just a coffee a month. And it means that you help to support me too, because obviously everything I do on YouTube is for free for you guys, but it really does mean the world to me for you to be able to support me too, so that I can bring you better content and just kind of like upgrade my equipment for you guys too, so everything is a lot better. Just everything's getting kind of like better and better and better for you guys. And that gives you access to the entire site, like I said, and also to a chat room, which me and you have, and the rest of the paid subscribers. And it's really good because we're building a really, really nice community over there. I would love you guys to be part of it too. And I have another YouTube channel, which is a podcast, which I host with my husband. I think you're gonna love it. It's very relatable, very real, and unfiltered basically. So if you like this video, please do give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit the bell button so that you never miss any of my future videos. Until the next video, take care and I'll see you soon.